There we go. Music Zip Kid, what's up, man? Hope you had a merry, productive Christmas. As I am still working on recovering. Man, it was a long day for us. It was a long day for us. Oh, man. But, you know, it was a good Christmas. It was a good Christmas. I didn't land a lot of, really, you know, I think really about the only guitar gear I did land was, you know, a GC gift card and some patch cables that I needed. But beyond that, you know, which is okay. But I did get a whole bunch of Amazon gift cards that I am thinking of selling my multi-track recorder and replacing that with another computer, so that I can actually record into a DAW back in my actual guitar room instead of at my desk out here, which is not in the guitar room. And I think that would probably, you know, now that I've overcome the hump and learned how to use one, learned how to record with the DAW, I think that would probably be more beneficial for everybody if I were able to do that. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to sell that giant multi-track recorder that I've got back there taking up a bunch of space. So, and it's not really getting used a whole lot anymore anyway. So, so that is, you know, so I'm currently in the midst of planning, or researching. I guess I'm not planning yet, but I'm researching if it's going to be researching and deciding if it's going to be more beneficial for me to buy a refurbished laptop and just use that, or if I should, you know, if I should build my own PC, which, you know, for recording I could probably do, you know, relatively inexpensively. So, you know, it doesn't need to be a gaming PC or anything like that. So, you know, and if I do just, you know, the good thing I've learned about building a PC is if I do decide to, that I want to convert it to a gaming PC, I don't know why I would, but I'm not much of a PC gamer, but if I do decide that I want to convert it to a gaming PC down the road, I'll be able to do that. You know, unlike my Dell here, which is, you know, the Dells and the HPs and, you know, those companies, you know, their stuff's all pretty proprietary and kind of hard to upgrade and change stuff out on a lot of times. I've discovered. I didn't know that until recently, but that's what I've learned. So Toe for Taylor is here. Paul Fuchs, welcome to you guys. Hope everybody had a happy Christmas and, you know, Harry holiday and, you know, all that stuff. So, and hopefully nobody got into too much trouble. So, Michael Mansour, welcome to you. That's a name. I'm not sure that might be a newcomer. That's a name I don't recognize. I'd ask you if you were related to a certain Misha Mansour, but your last name is spelled different, so I'm going to assume no. That's assuming I'm even pronouncing your last name right, and I very well may not be. So if I am, feel free to correct me. Thunder Falcons is popping in for the hang today. So there's one regular viewer who is here just about every single week that will no longer be joining us because I had to block him this past week, and I hated to do it, but I am not going to be chastised for for something as stupid as a video title and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that individual, and I'm gonna leave that individual nameless, will not be will no longer be hanging out with us here. So I don't need that. I don't need that kind of stuff. Hey, Michael Mansour says I did pronounce his name correctly. Cool. Serenity Guitars is here. Fellow Indiana resident. Now, anyway. Boy. Did you guys hear about Leslie West? Unfortunately. The man that, one of them anyway, that showed us the less is more. Unfortunately left us this week. So may Leslie West rest in peace. Thank you, Leslie. I was never really a huge Leslie West fan at all, to tell you the truth. But there's plenty of people on my my friend list and my Facebook feed that were, and were pretty torn up about his passing. So, there's no question he did leave his mark. So. Spinning Guitar says, yep, feeling the cold and sad about West, but Zach learned a lot from him. Yes, he did. Yeah, I guess, I suppose you are correct. You are correct. Yeah, Zach Wilde, has drawn his inspiration from a lot of unlikely places. Him being like his, as metal, as metal of a guitar player as metal gets. He was real big into Zeppelin and, guys like Leslie West and, stuff like that. So, same Eddie Van Halen was that way too. None of his favorite guitar players were, played even remotely close to the way he did. You mentioned the cold. Yes, yesterday, and I don't know about the rest of the world, but yesterday, Christmas in Indiana was freaking brutal. It was brutally cold. It was like 20 degrees, and then with a pretty decent wind behind it. On top of that, it felt like it was about 4. A couple of my tires decompressed, and I had to air them back up. And when I did that, that took about 15 or 20 minutes. That was a long 15 or 20 minutes. Let's see. Thunder Falcon says, anything new gear-wise coming that you're excited about? Boy, I don't know. I know Boss have announced a couple of new pedals recently. And I always get excited, when Boss announces new pedals. So they just announced the new OC5 and what was the other one? Oh, I've already forgotten now. Yeah, I can't recall. But yeah. So that's really, off the top of my head, that's really all I can think of. I take that back. I just saw this morning Henning just put out a video on the Fryette. Apparently, Fryette now has a new, they've got a new power attenuator for, I think, that'll handle up to 100 watts. It's like the PW100 or something like that. I can't remember what the model name is, but Fryette's got a new power attenuator out. I still want to get a hold of, still want to try out one of, the new. I'd love to try out the Rev Generation 3, or the Rev Generator 3 rather, that they just came out with. So, Rev doesn't seem to like me, though. I've contacted them several times about demoing some of their stuff, and they've never gotten back with me, so I don't think they like me much. For whatever reason. Let's see. Yeah, that's really about all I can think of off the top of my head. Mrs. Jackson, on the other hand, got me a very, very nice new camera for Christmas this year, so I'll get up and go get it here, show you guys here in a bit. But Yeah, so I have a nice, shiny, brand new. Matter of fact, it's the model up from the one that I'm using right now. Nice, shiny new camera that I'm going to get to be using here shortly. And I'm really excited about it because I love Panasonic cameras for video. Paul Fuchs says, when will the new Gibsons be announced? I have no idea. Usually Gibson don't announce their new. For the longest time they didn't announce it until Summer NAMM, which is August. But July or August. This last year though I think they started. They announced their new line at Winter NAMM. So it could very well be that's they'll probably do that again this year if I had to guess. They've gotten away finally from that stupid model year name. 2018 this and 2016 Les Paul that, and they've decided they finally realized they're not the car industry, and they don't need to do that. So so they started announcing they announced a new product line last year that finally didn't have any model years attached to it at NAMM. So I'm going to assume they're going to do the same thing this year, even though there's not going to be a NAMM show. So they'll probably rely on the interwebs like everybody else. Ryan 13, doing good. Hope you had a good Christmas as well. Thunder Falcon says, I hate winter and 2020 sucks. I completely agree. Topher Taylor says, more strings for Christmas never fails. I've got boxes of strings laying around. I didn't need strings, but I did need some cables. So that was that. I need some cables, and I got a new camera that I wanted. So, yeah, if the very beginning I was talking about, when I first jumped on here, I'll repeat this because I don't think too many people were in the room yet. But here I did, I got a few $100 worth of Amazon gift cards. And, I'm thinking I am going to sell my multi-track, my Tascam multi-track recorder, and replace it with either a laptop or I'm going to build a PC. And I'm not sure which way I'm going to go yet. I'm still in the researching phase and, deciding which of those is going to be better for me. Better and more convenient. I would like to build a PC, just so that I have something that I can, continually upgrade over time. Whereas, the Dells and the HPs and stuff like that are, don't really seem to do that very well. But the, a laptop obviously is, especially if I buy refurbished, which I believe in buying refurbished. If I buy refurbished, I can probably get a pretty decent laptop that'll do just about everything I need it to do all in one package. But, it'll be probably slow and dead and obsolete in about 5 years. So I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. Another thing I plan on doing is moving these monitors. I'm going to get a set of monitor stands to set on either side of my desk. And I'm going to move the monitors on top of there, probably move the box down somewhere, the tower. And then I want an ultra wide. I want an ultra wide screen for my computer out here. I think that'd be cool. But one thing at a time. So, and there's only so much money that I've got. So. TB2, yeah, the new Boss Wazacraft tone bender thing that they announced. I know the fuzz guys are real excited about that, and I kind of am too, just because it's Boss, but at the same time, I'd never use it. I get it. I'd play it once for demo, and that's probably the last time I'd ever touch it. Marco Crocchio, who's Bob? Hadley Scott McIntyre's here. What's up, dude? Christopher Morrow. Merry Christmas to all of you. Frank Kohler. Joe G. think I got everybody. Mike St. Croix. My knees hurt. I think that's everybody I got right now. Michael Mansour says, have you tried the Positive Grid Spark? As only a bedroom player, I'm thinking about grabbing one while I decide whether or not to get my Valve King MH repaired. I haven't, man. The modeling stuff just isn't for me. I'm just not into that kind of thing at all. A lot of people have asked me if I've tried the Spark and what my thoughts on it, and I defer to my friend Alan Barnes of Geargasms. His channel's called Geargasms. If you're not familiar with him, he's done a zillion videos on that Spark thing quite a bit, and he seems to be pretty fond of it. But minus his first video where he was also pretty honest, and he spent his own money on it, so Positive Grid didn't sponsor that one at all. But he's if you really want to know all the ins and outs of that, with an honest opinion, go check out some of Alan's videos on that. That's the best advice I can give you. Like I said, I'm just not into that kind of thing, man. Too many. I spend more time twisting, turning knobs and fiddling than I do actually playing through it, and just not for me. So just not for me. I haven't tried one. I'm not gonna try one, and yeah, I'm the wrong guy to ask. So, Christopher Morrow says his new Jackson Dinky turned out awesome. Good, glad to hear it. He sent me a picture of that through Facebook Messenger after he landed it. So cool, man. Glad to hear it set up and worked out okay. Thunder Falcon. Oh, it said Tyler Larson's in ICU with COVID. I didn't know that. Really? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Where at? He lives in Nashville. I'm assuming that's where he is. That was a bad day in Nashville too yesterday. Wow. So hopefully he wasn't anywhere near any of that craziness going on. Frank Kohler says, hey, Robert, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. What's your take on the 1980s pointy guitars from Guild, like the X82 Nova, the later version, the X82 Starfighter? I actually love those guitars. Of course, the X79 is probably the most famous of those, which is their kind of almost sort of kind of maybe Explorer shape thing. But the one that I really liked the best was the X88. Which was this weird star-looking thing. Mick Mars actually played one for a bit there in the early to mid '80s. Yeah, I love those guitars. I actually talked about them in one of my guitars you might not know about videos, and they're real hard to find. They're the USA ones anyway. They're really hard to find now. The people latched onto those a while back. I had a chance to buy an X88 probably, I don't know, 10 years ago. I don't remember what we were asking for, but it was, I don't remember what, we had bought it in at the store, and, whoever bought it in, it wasn't me, but, whoever bought it in paid, whoever it was that sold it took way not enough for it, and, oh God, I want to say we were selling for like $3.99 or something like that. It was a stupid, ridiculous price, and, I didn't jump on it fast, but sure enough, it was gone by the next morning. One of the employees at corporate grabbed it when he saw it. So, yep, that was I'm still kicking myself for not pulling the trigger on that immediately. But Joe G says, starting to build a Telly. What do you think of the 920D Custom T3WC upgraded replacement? No idea what any of that is. I know what a Telly is. I know what a custom build is, but that's the extent of my knowledge on any of that. I'm not into building guitars and modifying and all that kind of stuff. I've said it over and over again, man. I prefer my guitars to be ready to play right out of the box in the factory, man. I don't want to spend time working on them. I want to spend time playing them. So it's not something I've have a lot of interest in. I used to be I used to be real big into that stuff, when I was younger. I mean, I used to specifically buy guitars that had horrible pickups in them just so I could change them out. But, that's also fairly time consuming, and that got old after a while. Let's see. Robot for a sec. Okay, I'm not sure what that's about. Echo in and out. Oh well. Hobo Roadie says PC does not necessarily, absolutely, positively, categorically have to have cooling issues, as every laptop does. Interesting. That's a good. I didn't think about that. That's a good point. David Gabe's here. What's up, dude? Have they announced? He says Spark is okay. I like the Waza headphone amp better. That's true. That headphone amp is pretty cool. But he's stoked for the HM2 Waza. Have they actually announced that though? I know there's been a lot of spec. The internet wants an HM2 Waza craft bad. Actually, you're right. They did announce it. They just haven't announced when it's going to come out, or if they've even hadn't made any progress on it. But I think they did finally. I think Yoshi finally caved, and I would say caved, but he finally said they're going to do a Waza version of the HM2. The shittiest sounding pedal Boss ever put out. They're going to make that's for some reason one of their most popular all of a sudden in the last few years. They're going to do a Wazacraft version of it. So why not? Hadley Scott McIntyre says Valve King problems. I don't own a Valve King, so no, I don't have any Valve King problems. So, unless you were talking to somebody else on the thread, which you could very well be if somebody did mention it. RJ the Mad One, what's up, man? So have you heard of or tested Aura pedals? I have not. Not familiar with them. They must, I don't know if they're a new company. I don't know if they're. Yeah, first I've heard of them, to be honest. So I will have to check into them. So, if somebody knows somebody there, tell them to reach out to me, and see if you guys want me to demo them anyway. If you don't, then don't. But I know very little about it. Paul Fuchs says, Robert, your thoughts on the Rat pedal? I hated that pedal for years. Absolutely despised it, and on a whim, I decided to buy I think I listened to a demo first and was like, and I decided to buy the Electro Harmonix Flatiron Fuzz, which is their Rat pedal clone. I mean, you can hear, in the Flatiron Fuzz, you can hear that it's definitely got some of those characteristics, but side by side, they are really, you can tell it's the same circuit, but two widely different versions of it. But I really, really liked the Flatiron Fuzz. I was surprised at how well I liked the Flatiron Fuzz. And, so I decided I would be more open-minded about Rat pedals from there on out, and at least for a minute. So I bought a Proco. I bought, the current version, the Rat 2, and then I bought an old Rat Roadkill pedal from the 90s, which is, that was the LM246827212 QXD chip, whatever that thing is. This is kind of a cheap version of that they made back in the 90s. And, then I also bought a pedal called, from a small company, it's got to be a China company called Little Bear, called the R Attack, that is 3 Rat pedals in one. I think that's the Rat 2, the You Dirty Rat, and the Fat Rat, all in the same pedal. And I kind of like them. I mean, they're gnarly and nasty, and and kind of shitty sounding, but that's what that's kind of what gives that pedal its character. So they're okay. They are. Yeah, I do like them. They're probably never going to be my favorite go-to, but hats off to Electro-Harmonix for putting something out to make me a little bit more open-minded to them. Because, the Rat pedals just they kind of walk the line between distortion and fuzz. And, you all know how I feel about fuzz. So... Brandon Denson says, have you ever tried the Keeley stall hammer? I have not. I am not familiar with that pedal at all. Let's see. William De Silva is here. Charles 75 in. JG Mopar, what's up, buddy? And Stay Curious is here. So you left a comment on one of my videos here sometime in the last few hours. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but alrighty. Where are we here? RJ the Mad One says, are you using the new Blue mic knockoff today? I am, actually. I am, and really the only reason I'm using it is because I've had a really busy week, and I still haven't even had time to take pictures of this thing and list. And I do intend to sell it, because I'm not going to use it. But it was still sitting here on my desk, so I figured I'd plug. You guys seem to like it, like the audio from me using it last week. So I figured I'd go and plug it back in again and roll with it, which is what I'm doing. So. Figure why not? It's a good, really good little mic. It's perfect for what I'm doing with it right now. I just, I can't just, it's hard for me to justify this when I've got this, and that's a $400 microphone that I really like. So, and this one. Again, while I do enjoy it, the only way I'm going to see any compensation for that, for doing that demo is if I sell the stupid thing to begin with. So, but yeah, that is what I'm using today. JG Mopar says, HM2 is the shittiest sounding, but for some reason I love it. I gotta admit, yeah, you're right, man. There is something about that stupid pedal, man. It's the most garbage sounding distortion pedal that ever was, and I don't care how you set it. I don't care if you dime everything like the death metal guys, or if you actually put some effort and trying to dial in a usable tone out of it. It still sounds terrible, and no real guitar player in the right mind would ever hear it and say, man, that sounds great. I don't think so. People like it because it sounds terrible. And, and early death metal bands were using it for that reason. So, yeah. But that's, again, kind of like the Rat pedal. It's nasty and gnarly and, and all those things. And that's why people like it. It is unique sounding. There's nothing else out there that sounds like the HM2. So, they're getting harder and harder to find, man. They are, they don't seem to pop up quite as often as they used to. I haven't seen a used one in a while now. Divinity Guitar says got a 3D printer, so having fun with that. Those are cool. On computers, Apple has new M1 chip that Apple makes now, and cooling is very low. Variable now. Yeah, I don't want to go with a Mac, to be honest. I don't want to get, I use an iPhone, and and I listen to iTunes, and that's about the extent of my I love my iPhone. I'm not going away from that anytime soon, but I don't want to get locked into their recording ecosphere, because that's what happens. You do get locked in, especially if you start using, if you start uploading to iTunes, of which they take way too much money for, way too much money. So, I want to stick with PC, which is, that's what this is, and that's what I intend to do with that other room if I do decide to go that route. So, Like I said, I still got a fair amount of research ahead of me, and I still got a lot of decisions to make. But I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. But right now, I'm leaning towards building a PC, both for cost effectiveness and for down the road investment. Hadley Scott McIntyre says, well, the HM2 has about 2, maybe 3 usable settings. I don't know that it's got that many. I'm looking down at my phone. RJ, the mad one, just sent me a message on Facebook about the Aura pedals. He was talking about. I'll check into it here as soon as I'm done here today. Stay Curious says, does the Mesa Stiletto Ace feel similar to the dual rectifier for leads? I'm trying to avoid the dual rectifier lead feeling. Prefer the mark feeling for leads. I mean, the stilettos have always been more Marshall like than anything else as far as Mesa amps go. That's always been. I don't want to call it their Marshall in a box circuit. It's not really that, but it's of everything Mesa Boogie, the stilettos have always been closest to a Marshall up until the Triple Crowns came out a couple years ago. When the Triple Crowns came out, that one sounded like really 3 different Marshalls in the same amp. But prior to that, it was this. If you wanted a Marshall-esque sound out of a Mesa Boogie, it was pretty. Stiletto was pretty much. That was pretty much your option. So. Yeah, I haven't played a stiletto in a long time, and and I'm not a guy either that relies too much on the dynamics, the dynamics of the power tubes, too much either, especially on an amp like a Mesa Boogie. With preamp does a lot of the work. Marshall's a different story, but yeah. So yeah. I would say the stilettos are probably closer to what you're looking for, especially compared to a dual rec. But is it going to be exactly what you're looking for? That I don't know. Thunder Falcon says Phil McKnight did a great shootout with the Metal Zone and high-end pedals. I'll have to check that out. I was so shocked to hear. I was so shocked. I was shocked over a lot of people judging by the comment section. I'm gonna have to check that out. So when he shot out the Metal Zone with like the Keeley filaments and the amp tweaker type metal and stuff like that, I'd have to do that. I may do that. Just not the not my Wazacraft Metal Zone. I love that pedal, but just the regular Metal Zone. Shoot that out with some of my other high end metal pedals. I've done it before, but not from that. I've done a shoot out of all my metal distortions before, but not from that perspective. That's funny. William De Silva says I got that Little Bear Rat. That's actually a good pedal, man. I mean, I bought that one and I really didn't see much of a need to keep buying other versions of the Rat pedal because that one had 3 of them in it. So, and 2 of them I didn't already have. I mean, it's as far as clones go, that thing's pretty dead on. So, I don't, I'm with you. I don't know that I like it. I like that pedal quite a bit and saved me a lot of money down the road. Let's see. Stupid YouTube. Scroll down 1 notch and the whole thing jumps all the way down to the bottom. And I got to scroll back up and find where I was. Let's see. Gary Shelley's here. What's up, dude? Frank Kohler says, Robert, I love the Guild X82 Starfighter guitars also. I own 2 of them. One is 82 Blueburst of the EMGs. The other is an 84 black with hot rail pickups. Cool guitars, man. Those old Guild pointy guitars from the 80s, like you said. Those are really really cool, but they're hard to find now. I think somebody bought those up a long time ago. Dude, JG Mopar, dude, thank you so much. That dude supports this channel more than anybody else. He just hit up my PayPal account with a little support, a little donation. Thank you very much, dude. I appreciate it. So while I'm thinking about it, the link to my PayPal is down in the description if you would care to support the channel in that manner, or you can hit the little dollar sign there down at the bottom of the chat and do it through YouTube if you are interested in supporting the channel. If you're not, that's okay too. But if you are, that is how you would do so, and I am very, very grateful for those that do decide that they would like to do so. Joe G says, "What are your thoughts on Seymour Duncan quarter pound pickups for Telly?" I don't think I'm of the opinion Seymour Duncan makes very, very, very little that is garbage. I love Seymour Duncan, particularly pickups. I love just about everything Seymour Duncan, but most of their pickups, I can only think of a couple of them that I didn't really like. The quarter pounders, I really like the quarter pounder for bass, like P basses and stuff like that. I really like that pickup. The quarter pounder, I've never used. I've never personally used the quarter pounds for Telly or anything, but I'm more of a high output pickup guy. So the really really lower output. I like some moderate output stuff too, but the lower output, which is the quarter pound is probably low to mid. Is the problem not probably the first one I would gravitate towards, but if you're looking for a low mid moderate output like vintagey style sounding pickup, especially for a good price, I don't know where you're gonna find any better than Seymour Duncan. Tell Seymour Duncan make better pickups than Fender. Okay, you guys are talking amongst yourselves. HM2 settings. William Silva says a recent bought a King of Tone wannabe called a Hotbox Dual Drive. I never heard a real one in person, but I really dig a Hotbox. And for $80, I'd recommend to anyone on the King of Tone wait list. I keep telling myself I'm going to get on the King of Tone wait list, but I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet. I don't know. It's not quite as simple as just getting on their website and say, hey, put me down for a King of Tone. I'll wait a year and a half. Here's my upfront money. You can get it. You can buy King of Tone with various different options. This chip versus that chip versus, this this switch on the side that does this versus not that switch on the side that does this, and there's they're fairly customizable. So. I guess that's one reason why I haven't done it. So, I'm thirsty. Marcus Johnson says, "Hey Robert, a second. Joe G's questions. What are the thoughts on the Seymour Duncan quarter pound pickups for Telly?" Okay, well, I just answered it, so hopefully you heard me when I answered Joe G's question. David Goldman's here. Gary Shelley says, "Hey brother, you, me, Joe Walsh all have something in common." He's referring to a goofy Facebook post that I posted the other day. I think you're the only one that's guessed it so far, though. Let's see. Jake Collins is here. Welcome, sir. Jake Collins from Louisiana, that is. Go back. Actually, it just hit me. Go back up Marcus Johnson. Is that my buddy Marcus Johnson in Oklahoma, or is that somebody. It's a fairly common name, so to be fair, he's not the only Marcus Johnson actually that I even know, but he's the one that I'm the closest with. So I don't know if it's that Marcus Johnson or not. Let's see. There we go. Roy Batty says, what's the other boss metal thing? The metalizer, the digital metalizer. That was kind of a. Those are cool too. Those are that was kind of a. It was a metal distortion kind of from that same era. Maybe even a little bit earlier, if memory serves. With it had a couple of delays on it, so you could like 2 different delay settings that you could add to it if you wanted to. So you got to think of it. That was the late '80s, and it was high. It was metal distortion delays all over the place. So Boss decided to make a pedal that had it all in one box. That's really what that was about. Those are cool. Those are good pricey too on the used market when they do pop up. So, but I'm gonna have to grab one here one of these days. I like those pedals. So, because my boss pedal collection is growing anyway. 2 more of them showed up this week. Let's see. B Smiley Thursday says, Dan, can't believe it's Saturday again. I've been having trouble figuring out what day it is the last 3 days. So, the only reason I knew today was Saturday is, because I had to think about it because Christmas is on Friday this year. That means I get up the day after Christmas and do my live stream, so here we are. Thunder Falcon says Marshall coming out with some new amps in 2021. I haven't heard anything, but most likely, I'm sure they will. Marshall tends to keep those things pretty quiet until the NAMM show. This year is not going to be a NAMM show, so I'm sure that they're probably they're going to do what everybody else is going to do. They're going to they're going to make a big announcement, with on the YouTubes and and all that kind of stuff, and they'll probably do an interview or 2 or 3 here on the bigger channels, and and announce what they're coming out with, and then it'll start shipping on whatever date. And then the retailers will have it, and then it'll sell out, and then they'll be back ordered for a few months until they can get caught up, and then it'll sell out again, and they'll go through that cycle, for 6 or 8 months, and then the world will be all right again. But as far as what they're coming out with, I don't know. So they have not announced that yet. And like I said, there's no NAMM show this year. It's going to be, they're going to have to rely on the interwebs to get word out this time. Seventy Guitar says build a PC and post it like Cavill did. I'm assuming you're referring to Henry Cavill, which I'm not familiar with what that is, but so damn women went nuts over that. Not trying to persuade you to the Apple clan. I don't even use my laptop to full potential. GarageBand, Internet 3D. So yeah. I'm probably gonna stick with PC just because I've always been a PC guy. Nothing, I like Macs. I just, number one, they're too expensive. They're overpriced for what they are, and I can build and accomplish this, the same thing on the PC side with an operating system and platform that I'm a lot more familiar with for a lot less money. Joe G says, I have a Wazacraft Metal Zone, awesome pedal. That's one of my favorite distortion pedals. Mine, and mine came from. I'm gonna hold on to mine for life. Mine was a gift from a viewer. A guy named Alan Scherer, who Alan doesn't seem to comment and hang out in the chats as often as he used to, but he contacted me once and said, what's your address? I'm gonna send you something, and I took the chance and gave it to him, and that showed up in the mail a few days later. And I was really, really touched that somebody would do that for me, because I had mentioned at that point that pedal had been out for 4 or 5 months, maybe not quite that long, and I had mentioned several times I really, really wanted one because I've always loved the Metal Zone, and he sent it to me, and I was blown away. So I mean, I didn't know what to say. So it's that one. That particular Boss pedal has a lot of meaning for me, and that's why it's not going anywhere. Even without the the personal stuff of how I received it behind it, it's even without all that stuff, though, it's still an awesome distortion pedal. I recommend it to people all the time. Nobody wants to believe me that it's an awesome pedal because it says metal zone on it, but here's what mine sounds like. You make your own decision. B Smiley Third says, I haven't used Boss OS 2 overdrive distortion. I've got one of those as well. Those are cool. That overdrive, that distortion / overdrive knob is maybe one of the coolest controls on a guitar pedal ever. It's, if you want to know what the difference between an overdrive and a distortion is, plug in one of those pedals, set everything at noon, and only play with that knob, and that will answer your question. RJ the Mad One says, I think that mic is sold. I don't know if you're talking about the Fifine blue knockoff thing I'm using or not. But, let's see. Talking fuzz pedals. Jack Collins says, Robert, I play a lot of country blues, southern rock, and occasionally heavy metal. Do you think the Seymour Duncan Saturday night specials would be good for me? Honestly, a lot of this is going to depend on your amp as well, and if you're running any pedals or anything, or if you're just going, if you're just plugging your guitar straight in. But, for me, I would probably prefer something. I would probably go with something a little bit heavy, a little bit higher output. Honestly, the Duncan JB is perfect for that, because it's the JB can cover all of those genres very, very easily. And the JB responds very, very well to the volume control on your guitar. It cleans up exceptionally well, and when you got the volume turned all the way up, it's really, really good at pushing a high gain amp into overdrive. So that's why I like the JB as much as I do. The Saturday night specials are again great pickups, but for me, my taste, they don't have quite enough oomph behind them. So, Roy Batty says, more of a Hot Rails guy myself. I don't like the JB Junior. I have a pair I want to sell. They just don't sound good to me. Well, Hot Rails is probably the that's maybe it's not Seymour Duncan's highest output pickup anymore. But it was it's still probably in the top 3 or 4. Hot Rails is surprisingly, especially for how big it is, that is a hot pickup. It's not the Slug, which is that, if you don't know what the Seymour Duncan, what the Slug is, it's a custom shop pickup. They came out with a resistance output of 48K. I mean, it's literally a flamethrower. And to put that into perspective, the JB, like I said, is considered a high output pickup, and as versatile as it is, the JB is right around mid 15K range, so like 15.8 or something, I think. Hey, Jim Woodard's here. Says lunch break. He's working his second job at Guitar Center Virginia Beach. So if you're in the Virginia Beach area today, and you really want to see Jim pulling his hair out, because today's probably the busiest day of the year in that store, go visit Jim at the Virginia Beach Guitar Center. I'm sure he would love to see you. Yep, when I was still at the store, man, probably that last Christmas season I was there, I was when I realized that the day after Christmas had surpassed Black Friday as the busiest day of the year. It is. That is a mega wall to wall craziness all day long. Camman says, "What are your opinions on the new lines of BC Rich guitars?" I think they're awesome, and I think it's about time that they started kind of getting back to their roots, more or less. They spent the last several years, especially under the last management, that practically ran them into the ground. That one they were just trying to make. You could tell they were just trying to make money. They shipped production on everything to China, and they were. I mean, they weren't built well at all. You could tell they weren't putting any effort into them, or even paying any attention to them, because the same management group also manages some other import guitar brands. And yeah, it was. You could tell they were just treating it like a cash grab. So the new management, on the other hand, is totally nixed all of those contracts with those factories, and they literally started over from the ground up. So they're more expensive. There's not an entry line model or even or anywhere close available anymore. Now they start about $1,200-$1,300. But again, now they're all made in Korea. This is excluding the USA custom shop stuff, which has always been there. But now they start about $1,200 or $1,300, and they're building some some of the classic stuff that's models from the 70s and 80s, like the stuff that people like, similar to the old NJs and the old USA stuff from those eras. And they're also coming out with some new stuff like the Extreme series that have things like Fishman Fluence pickups and Evertune bridges, and some of those modern appointments that a lot of modern players are after. No, I'm very, very impressed with them. I think they're for the first time in a long time they're doing it right. I wish they were a little more affordable like everybody else, but that's the world that we're living in now. Guitars just aren't as cheap as they used to be. It's certainly not with that kind of build quality and those kind of specs. So, yeah, no, I have either a Warlock or a Shredzilla in my sights, but the truth is, I really want to save my money, and I really want to buy the Les Paul I want. I really want that Les Paul custom that I've always wanted, and I've been thinking about it here the last couple of weeks and putting it in perspective, and if I do it right, and I pay off the the balance on my my GC card, and don't buy anything for a while, and if and pull from some different areas. If I figure out how to save up enough, and I think I can do it. I think I can probably take me another year or so, but I think I can do it. I saved longer than that to buy my Music Man, so. Yeah, so I think I really want that guitar to be the next one I buy. So, but who knows? I've thought that before, and life has gotten in the way. So hey, there's my buddy Marcus Johnson in Oklahoma. What's up, man? I didn't know that was. I haven't talked to you in a while. I haven't done what you were up to. Let's see. King of Tone is the wait list is 3 years now. Wow. Yeah, at that point, wait for a used one to pop up, and what do they sell for, like $350? When you order one, they're like $350, but they pop up used, they sell for like $5. Because the wait on them's so long. Probably better off buying a used one. Pardon me. And at the end of the day, the King of Tone's based on the Blues Breaker circuit anyway. So, let's look more. Maybe so I can get caught up here. You guys are chatting faster than I'm talking. Hmm. Hmm. 14. Let's see. Most of you guys are chatting amongst yourselves more than anything else. So, Andrew Conkey says, "Hey Robert, got a fantastic Black Star Studio 10 KT88 for Christmas with my Starcaster. Sounds good. Have you had experience with them?" I have not. I didn't know Black Star made a KT88 amplifier. To be honest with you, let alone if it's a 10, I don't know if that means 10 10-inch speaker, 10 watts. Yeah, I'm not familiar with those at all. I'm not familiar with them, but I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's the important thing, man. Who cares what I think? William Silva says I hit something causing echo. I don't know if I'm still echoing. Let me know, because I don't know what that might be. Unless it was just when I was picking up my microphone and setting it back down, banging it around for a minute. But let's see. Okay. I tried to. Is anyone Charles 75N? Has anyone tried to stack a Blues Driver and a Tube Screamer? What order would you place them in? I am going to defer to the chat to answer that question, because I am not, one overdrive is not for me. I'm not a big fan of stacking overdrives on top of each other. If one overdrive can't do it, it ain't the right overdrive. B Smiley III says, "Hey Robert, did you see they put vape ban BS in the covert delete bill?" Nah, I'm not talking politics here. So, especially that that the whole fiasco. Let's see. K-Man says, "Hey, Robert, just got a Scheckter Diamond Series C7. Do you have any recommendations on a good metal tone for it? Use Line 6 Pod HD300. Running through 412 with vintage 30s. It sounds like you already got it covered, man. I don't know which version, which Scheckter C7 you have. The C7, that's their. Do I have it behind me? I don't have it behind me. I thought I had my blackjack behind me, but the C1 is the model. For example, the Warlock is the B Series Warlock. So, it's or more specifically, the Warlock is the shape, and everybody knows what a Warlock looks like, but not necessarily the series. So, without knowing, and all the import Schecters are Diamond Series. So, at least once upon a time they were anyway. They've kind of changed a little bit of that since. But anyway, so without, I guess really the C7 is just the 7-string version of the C1, and the pod, that HD300. I mean, there's tons of high gain tones in that thing. You're running through a 412 with vintage 30s. So you're running through the right cabinet. I mean, like I said, it sounds like you pretty well got it covered. If you like the sound of it. Don't mess with it. JG Mopar says, "Hey Robert, you like the old Marshall Governor distortion pedals, the old black box ones?" Yeah, I do. And there is one of those actually that's listed on the Guitar Center website. They've had it listed there forever because it's way overpriced. They got it listed for $299. It's not worth that much. But yeah, they I like them. I think they're cool. I really want to. I keep meaning to try and find some of the newer. The what they I think they call it the Governor twos. The smaller gold color stomp boxes. The Governor, the Jackhammer, and I think there was one other drive pedal out of that series that I thought was cool. But I've always wanted to get one of those, and yeah, they're but that the old Marshall Governor sound is a cool sound, really really cool tone. I think it was probably a little overlooked back in the '80s when I think it was the '80s or the '90s. Those pedals came out in the '90s. The old vintage Marshall thing hadn't quite. The '90s were a different time for for guitar gear. There just didn't seem to be as much of a attraction to the old '70s Marshalls, '70s and early '80s Marshalls, which is kind of what that Governor pedal wasn't meant to necessarily play through those, but seems to sound best going through those. But so yeah. Short answer, yeah, I do like those pedals quite a bit. Bibster's Repair Shop says, sorry I'm late. Who got sweet gear for Christmas? I got a new camera for Christmas. So, not the one that I'm using, but is the my lovely wife got me got me a camera that I really wanted. It's actually the model up from the one that I'm using for this right now, and I'm very very excited about it and very excited to use it. Eric Philsinger says Windows 10 sucks. I actually don't mind it. I think I kind of like I think it's pretty easy to navigate. I've never had any issues with it. William Silva says, bought myself a Balaguer Archetype, and my wife bought me a Holy Board. Those Holy Board pedal boards are cool. Some very small things, a couple 500K pots, orange drop resistors. Yep, I just, I got, other than the camera I just mentioned, I got some patch cables, and I think it was really about it. I got a pedal and a clip-on tuner for my birthday earlier this month, but not for Christmas. But that's okay, because I did get some gift cards that I think I'm going to be able to build myself a computer with, which is what I've been talking about quite a bit today on this live stream so far. Hadley Scott McIntyre says, man, I got an HM2. I was thinking of sending it on. If you're thinking of selling it? HM2 I've owned. It's battle worn even when I got it. Who wants to borrow my battle worn HM2? He says. So you guys are still. Still talking amongst yourselves. Yeah, Jim's going back to work. Roy Batty says, to be honest, I hate the relic fad. It inflates the prices of used guitars. I don't know that it inflates it, but I think if anything, it devalues it quite a bit. I'm not, about the only time I can see it increasing any value is if it's a relic from the Fender custom shop, and that's only due to labor costs that go into relicing the stupid thing to begin with. I don't like the look of it at all. I think it's ridiculous. I'd rather I try to make sure my gear looks like it did the day it came out of the box anyway, but if it is gonna pick up any battle scars, I'd rather be from me, not me having to pay for them up front. Stay Curious says, what's the most overrated, expensive guitar you've tried? Oh, boy. Ooh. Most overrated, expensive guitar I've tried. Probably a Gibson. I can't remember whose name it was on. I think it was maybe a Billy Gibbons, 59. It was a Billy Gibbons 59 Les Paul. The signature thing, they do that thing where they come out with a stupid expensive guitar, with an artist name on it every few years, and then most of them are like $10,000-$12,000, and then there's like 100 of them that the dude actually signed himself, and those they sell for like $20,000 or $25,000. It was one of those. It was one of those that was actually hand signed, and it felt like any other Les Paul standard I'd ever played. It was not worth $20,000. But to be fair, they don't build those guitars. They don't sell those guitars for playability. They sell them for collectability, which is what that was. So, yeah, there's a ton of that stuff out there. Overrated. Roy Batty says overrated, expensive guitar. PRS. I don't know, man. Those PRS Core Series, Core model guitars, man. Those are really, really nice instruments. Yeah, they're expensive, and they're certainly more expensive than they used to be. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the argument can be made. They're for Gibson guitars the same money. They're those PRS guitars kind of kick Gibsons in the ass. As far as quality goes, I don't. Honestly, I can't think of any guitar in that kind of 4 or 5, with the exception of the Les Paul Custom I've always wanted. Beyond that, I can't think of any guitar in the $4,000 or $5,000 range that's that I just gotta have. I am a little bit more practical in that sense, and that if BC Rich is making a $5,000 Warlock, I'm quite sure I can find a $1,500 Warlock that'll do the exact same thing and serve my purposes a lot better. John Taylor says, "What kind of Les Paul Custom do you want?" Just the good old fashioned production model one. I don't need a 57 reissue. I don't need a, I don't need a. For a long time I did want the Black Beauty with the Bigsby on it, but now the older I get, that honestly seems like a lot more getting in the way, and something I really don't need. So I would be happy with the, just the regular old-fashioned Gibson Les Paul Custom, preferably the ebony one. The Alpine White one's cool too, but I always like the ebony with the gold hardware. So, which currently right now sells for $46.99. Lefty Guitar says, "Hey Robert, no, Merry Christmas. I will change pickups on one of my guitars while listening to you." Cool. If you guys saw Fluff's live stream the other day, he was changing pickups while he was doing his live stream. JG Mopar says, "I've always wanted the white Les Paul Custom." Yeah, so you and I would be, if we get them at the same time, we'd be like yin and yang with our Les Paul Customs. RJ the Mad One says, "You may need to start a Robert's Guitar Fund." Yeah, well, maybe I ought to, I don't know if this thing catches on enough. Maybe I'll change the tip jar text. See how many people hold pity out on me and click on that glass tip jar thing. Let's see. John Taylor says, "Yeah, I want the white custom also. Yeah, that's a popular guitar." He says, "I've always wanted the black one. I've always wanted the black one. I think and really, I think of all people that I saw it, the first time I saw one of those, I think was Peter Frampton's. So, I think his was a Black Beauty, but the first Les Paul custom I can think of that I thought, man, that's a really cool guitar. I'd love to have one of those. I think it was Peter Frampton's." Gary Lawford says, "Bought 14 guitars before, got wise, and bought a Fender Strat. Gibson is now on the list. Go for it and avoid the shit." John Taylor says, "Gibson is the best resale." You're not wrong about that. For some reason, Gibsons, they don't hold all of their value, but they do seem to resell pretty well. And they always have. I don't know why. Cool Guitar Gears here. What's up, man? Says, "Wow, 40 viewers on Boxing Day. It was just up to 51 a minute ago, I just saw. Hope you had a great Christmas. Currently working on Band in a Box 2021 review. What new stuff do you have coming down the line?" Oh, man, I if you're talking video content, boy. Oh, man, I got at least 3 Boss pedals. There's I got I actually got a chorus pedal shootout that I just did this past week that you guys are going to see. I got another Blues Driver pedal shootout thing coming up down the road. A Tube Screamer shootout. I've got some things planned. I still got another Bantamp Joyo Bantamp demo I got to get done. So I've got a lot of stuff here in front of me that I need to get done. But this time of year it's been real tough. I'm trying to get the simple stuff out of the way this week and next, stuff that I can get done and knocked out early in the week, so that I can have the rest of the week freed up to do the holiday and do the holiday stuff and be where where Mrs. Jackson needs me to be. So. JG Mopar says, "Yeah, John Taylor, you'll never lose money if you buy the high-end Gibsons." I don't know about that. I mean, if I pay $46.99 for a Les Paul custom, if I turn around and sell it for 6 months, I'm not going to get $46.99 out of it. I'll be lucky to get 4. 35 is probably a little more realistic. 35, 36. Pardon me. Roy Batty says, "Stuff I bought for $600 in the 80s is now $1,200. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in the 80s that's gone up in value. I've got an 85, my 85 Hammer Scarab that you guys have seen on my channel occasionally. I bought that guitar for way less than I should have, because it'd been hanging in a store rotting forever. Nobody wanted it, and so I managed to buy that thing for $650, and it's probably worth 15, 16, 18, somewhere in there. Maybe even upwards of 2, because mine's in pretty good condition. So there's one little ding on it, and beyond that, it's pretty clean. But yeah, a lot of that stuff, my 84 Kramer Focus is suddenly shooting up in value, which I guess I got Gibson to thank for that, for actually releasing a decent new line of Kramer guitars. Let's see. Cool Guitar Gear says I can hear the difference with that other mic. Slight dark or muffled tone. With which one? The USB mic or my regular, the Aston Stealth that I usually use? Let's see. Roy Batty says Scheckter's a great value. I agree with that completely. I think Scheckter's are some of the best value guitars on the market right now. Have been for a long time. I have seen, I'm disappointed though. I haven't experienced it myself, but I have seen, like in the Scheckter groups, a few people complaining of some with photos to prove it, some QC issues that they've encountered on some of their new Schecters, and that's kind of disappointing because they've always been real good about avoiding that. With Scheckter's usually been really, really consistent. You know what you're going to get when you pull them out of the box. So, all this, we were a big Scheckter dealer at our store, and I unboxed a lot of Schecters, and I can't remember any of them having any QC issues. So it's kind of disappointing to see that other people have experienced that here in the last. I've noticed over the last year or so. Marcos says VIP 2 or Katana 50 Mark II for metal. If you're talking, VIP, if you're talking like the Vipers, the PV Viper, I don't know. I'd probably go with the Katanas, man. In that arena of modeling amps, I mean, the Katanas are pretty tough to beat. The Katanas are really the only ones that are designed to take pedals too. Like they were designed with that in mind. The rest of them, the Line 6 and the PV Vipers, those are designed really more so you don't have to use pedals. But if you like to use pedals, the Katanas were, like I said, designed for that in mind. The Katanas have now become the best-selling amp in that in that genre, in that price range, over the last couple of years anyway. And they, Boss didn't mean for that to happen. They just wanted to put out an amp so that they had something to compete in that arena. And then all of a sudden they took off and they became best-selling amps and best-selling modeling amps on the market. And they couldn't keep up with them. And now they're even on their second generation of them. They've sold so well. Robert, have you ever played the Scheckter USA Custom Shop? Yes, I have. And they're good playing guitars, man. They are sharp. You don't see it very often. Really, about the only time you ever see a Custom Shop Scheckter, USA Scheckter, is if it's on a, stage where Avenged Sevenfold or The Cure or somebody like that are playing. But, so you don't run across them very often. They're not one of those brands that die-hard guitar collectors just have to have a custom guitar built by. But yeah, I have played them, and I've played one or two of them, and they're nice. They're really nice. Serenity Guitar says restaurant of the day, Robert. Well, it's funny you mentioned that today. I actually made myself some steak soft tacos for lunch before I did my live stream today. So I am not going to be ordering out for lunch today. That said, I will be going to pick up Qdoba for dinner this evening. So restaurant of the day is going to be Qdoba. But if you're asking about local restaurants of the day, then I would probably recommend, let's see, where's a good place to go around here? Let's see. I don't know what side of town you're on, but let's see. If you want a really good burger, up in Carmel, there is a place called Dooley O'Toole's. It's like an Irish pub kind of place. They've got, order the Black and Blue Burger, I think it is. They've got a killer burger in that pub. So, let's see. Doc James Roxy's here. Welcome, sir. John Taylor says about a 60 Duosonic in the 90s for $200. Wow. Yeah, that's... Well, back in the 90s, I mean, really the only people that were buying that kind of stuff were the guys in the grunge bands that didn't have any money. And that's the reason why they were buying, like, the old Duosonics and the the Jaguars and the Mustangs, and that's how Kurt Cobain got into Mustangs. He didn't have any money, and that's what he could afford. It was some cheap old beat up Mustang. Nobody knew then they were going to suddenly be worth thousands. JG Mopar says I traded my Marshall Governor for a Boss ROD10 back in the early 90s. I don't have either anymore. I don't know what the ROD10 is. You stumped me there. I mean, that's a Boss product I am not familiar with. Oh, come on, you stupid YouTube. Man, it jumped way down. There it is. Doc Hammers Roxy says, who got really good gear for Christmas? I got a new camera. That's gear. For me, anyway. Camera gear and guitar gear are all kind of in the same, the same bucket these days anymore. Rick Beato just went live, so I imagine my viewership's going to drop off. Let's see. Give me a minute here. I need to get caught up in the chat. Roy Batty says he got 7 inexpensive pedals for Christmas. Nothing wrong with that. Dave Escobar is here. What's up, Dave? Merry Christmas to you. JG Mopar got a new Jackson for Christmas. Michael Lou says, have you tried Gene Simmons' bass used in concert? No, I have not. I have not. I'm surprised he doesn't hang on to that stuff himself, because he thinks of Gene Simmons, as much as I love the guy, I mean, let's face it, he thinks if he touched it, it's suddenly worth $1 gazillion because he touched it. But that's Gene Simmons. That's why we love him. Let's see. Jeff Parker is here. Merry Christmas to you, sir. Hadley Scott says, what's Magi Voodoo Mojo? I'm assuming you guys are talking amongst yourselves. Okay. Echo again, says William Silva. Echo is back. This is probably, I don't know how long ago this was, but Michael Lewis says Robert has a pedal under his chair. Actually, the only pedal I have under my chair, this chair, is the foot switch for my Laney amp that's in the rack right next to me. That's the only pedal that I have down here below me. I don't like keeping pedals on the floor around my desk. That drives me crazy. So, no, the box to this microphone is on the floor next to my desk right now. That's driving me nuts. So, Roy Batty says JHS was making fun of it on Reverb this past week. I don't know what he was making fun of, but I did see that Josh Scott listed his collection of MiG 50 amps, Softtech MiG 50s on Reverb, and I knew he had a lot of them. I didn't know he had that many. No wonder you can't find any of them. He's got them all. Jesus. Jeff Parker says, I always wanted a Les Paul Access, Floyd on Les Paul. I never liked the Access Les Pauls, man. You know, yes, they do play, you know, I mean, they got the playability thing there, but I don't know, man. There's just something about those that, you know, they seem a little bit lighter weight. They just don't feel and sound like I think a Les Paul is supposed to feel and sound. In my opinion. You know, they're okay. I mean, it's not like I hate them. I don't. But, you know, if I were to buy a Les Paul, that wouldn't be my first choice. Charles 75N says, how about smashing that like button, folks? Yes, please. If you have not already, I don't have that. Do I have that particular statistic in front of me? No, I don't. So I guess I can't see who is or isn't liking said live stream. Whoa. Uh-oh. There's a button I didn't mean to hit. Sorry about that. If I blinked out for a second, I didn't mean to. I hit the back button by mistake. That was stupid. Let's see. Still getting caught up. You guys are chatting about the HM2. Michael Luce's Audacity is awesome for free. I really don't care for Audacity. I think it's pretty stripped down. You know, for free, you're much better off downloading Reaper. You know, Reaper's a full-size DAW with a full plugin suite. You know, that comes with it. Reaper's for free. You know, or $60 if you want to pay them their fee, which you don't have to. You know, Reaper's pretty tough to beat. I like, Studio One's my current favorite, but since Avid decided they were going to be dicks about my Pro Tools license earlier this year, but so I've been using Studio One just for most of this year, and pardon me, I've grown to like it quite a bit. William Silva says my friend is basically gifted a Gibson Artisan. Wow. He only has to pay $900 for it. I want a PRS so bad, so he traded straight across the. Oh, ouch! That hurts. Those Artisan Les Pauls are cool. Scott Bivens, says, what can I do to make my Starcaster and G10 amp to sound better? That I don't know. I guess it depends on what it is. What about the sound? What it is about the sound that you currently don't like? That'd be the first question that you need to ask. So, if whatever it is that you don't like about it, that will make it a little bit easier to nail down what it is you need to change about it. Now, if we're talking about the Squier Starcasters, the ones that come in the packs, for with the amp and everything for like $100, those are what they are. Those are literally, they're built to be functional instruments for you to learn on. They're not meant to be the greatest sounding things in the world, and they're not gonna be. Just the way it is. So, but if you're talking about one of the older Fender Starcasters, like the bigger bodied guitars, they went with those out like the 80s or 90s or something. That's a little bit different story. Lily Hunter Revolution. Michael Lou says, remember Gibson Nighthawks under $400. Yeah, I do too. That was a long time ago, though. Michael Lou says Kramer Focuses used to be $100 in the 90s. That is true. That is true. I got mine for free. A buddy of mine had one sitting in his attic for with an old PV. I don't know. It was just a small little PV practice amp that I didn't have any use for. And he gave them both to me just because he knew he couldn't sell them and get anything worthwhile. So he knew I played, so he just gave them to me. The Kramer I actually happen to kind of like. I didn't play it a whole lot at first, but I did actually kind of have a liking to it. And I did, and I knew enough to know it was made in Japan, and I should probably hang on to it for that reason, which is what I did. Now all of a sudden people are offering me $600-700 for it. JG Mopar says the JCM 800s I sold for cheap went up. My JCM 900 I gave to my brother went up. Live and learn, I guess. Well, the JCM 900s finally, those just finally started to go up here in recent years. For the longest time, unless it was the Mark III, the dual reverbs and the SLXs were $500-700 all day long, all day. So there wasn't really a whole lot of collectability. And then they reissued the 4100, the dual reverb, again. And then finally people started to, the dual reverb started to go up a little bit. So, but even then, they haven't gone up that much. Now they're worth about, 7, 8, 900. So, they've gone up a little bit, but not a lot. Doc Amos Roxy says they may know how to apply a Behringer Composer Pro XL into Signal interactive dynamics processor. I do not. I don't know the first thing about any of that stuff, unfortunately. JG Mopar says, yeah, Roy, I'm still bothered about my mistakes of selling gear. I've been fortunate that I haven't sold a whole lot of gear, and I do have a couple of things that I regret. I regret selling my Blue Voodoo half stack, the first one, but now I just bought another one of those, another head anyway. I don't need another cab, but I bought another head, so I got that back, and that seemed to fix that regret. Now I don't have the regret of selling the old one anymore. That's really about it. I can't think of any guitars that I regret selling. Every guitar that I've sold, really haven't missed it much. So, let's see. Try to buy back and Doc Amos Roxy says I regret selling a Basement 59 reissue, but too much for home and didn't use it enough. Those 59 Basements are loud. Those things are loud, and they're big and heavy combos. They're not the easiest things in the world to lug around either. So. Stay Curious says the reason I asked about the Stiletto Ace is because I just ordered one, but now you're making me think the TC might be better. I prefer Mesa over Marshall. Now, if you prefer Mesa over Marshall, you know, I would stick with the stiletto. You know, see what you. I mean, the Triple Crown is probably the most Marshall sounding amp the Mesa's ever put out. You know, if you like the Mesa sound over Marshall, I'd stick with the stiletto. William Silva says, Robert, have you tried the Sinvertech N5 or N5 Plus? Opened mine up the other day. And it had black epoxy covering the inside, just like the Klon. Guess they don't want cloned. Great pedal. I have not. I'll be honest. I don't even know what that is. Sinvertech N5 or N5 Plus. Yeah, I've never even heard of them. So, but the covering the boards with that black epoxy, or what a lot of people call gooping, that's pretty common these days, unfortunately, because like you said, companies trying to prevent their pedals from getting cloned and getting copied. So, there was that one dude from Vertex Effects or something, I guess, put up a video this week claiming that his Dumble distortion pedal had been copied by, been cloned by Newx, which it hadn't. It just, a lot of people were buzzing about that this week. I don't know much about that guy, but apparently he's not real popular. So, yeah, I'm thirsty. Let's see. Jeff Parker says, I actually had the best guitar Christmas ever. Bought myself a new Scheckter Banshee, got new Focusrite Scarlett 18920, 2 new Shure SM57s, Tonewood amp, and Polytune clip-on tuner. Good for you, man. That's a good score. That's not a bad haul. I assume you got the 3rd gen 18920, which you ought to enjoy. I'm still using the 2nd gen 18920, but I still very, very much enjoy it. I think it's a great interface, and I've gotten a lot of use out of it, and I've enjoyed using it very, very much. I've still got my old 2i2 sitting here that's probably going to turn into my new interface back there for my guitar room when the day comes. William De Silva says hitting the like button gives you better tone, folks. Let's see. Jeff Parker says if you can swing the Banshee, you won't regret it. I have a few different Jackson soloists. This is a 2nd Banshee. The black one with the Sustainiac first one. Love the first one so much. I like the Banshees quite a bit. I really want one of the C1 Elites with the Sustainiac, and I really want one of the Sun Valley Super Shredders with the Sustainiac in it. Those are 2 Schecters that I got on my wish list. And the Silver Mountain. The Silver Mountain's pretty kick-ass too. I think those guitars are great. I would really like Silver Mountain, but can't have them all, I guess. Frank Kohler says, I love Les Paul Customs, the ebony with the gold with a straight saddleback bridge. I've had 3 in my life so far, 79, 96, and 05 custom shop. Awesome guitars, fast necks, heavy though. Yeah, the weight doesn't bother me. I've never been afraid of heavy guitars. Heavy guitars do not bother me at all. So, to be clear, light guitars don't bother me at all either. That's one of the advantages, one of the reasons why I love my Majesty as much as I do. But that's certainly not the only reason I love that guitar. Doc Games Roxy says, RGD ever done a vid on how to switch to using DAW in interfaces / equipment, etc. required to play through computer into YouTube or other I'm assuming that's a typo for platforms. I did a video once about, I don't know, maybe a year ago, year and a half ago, about various different recording rigs, and that's really I think it's probably the only video about recording gear that I've ever done that actually did well. For the most part, just about every other video about recording gear that I've done, you guys like to see videos about guitar gear. Most of you guys don't care about recording gear on my channel. Presumably because there's other channels that cover that stuff better than I do. But that's probably the closest that I've done. As far as switching over, as switching from a DAW, especially if you're currently using a multi-track, my only regret was that I didn't do it sooner. And the reason why is because using a DAW is so much easier. It's more money to invest, and it's intimidating because it's computer based, and you're messing with software and you're messing with hardware. More hardware than you probably already currently have, et cetera, et cetera. There are some other some hardware pieces that you have to buy. Like an interface, like a pair of monitors, like microphones, that kind of stuff. If you don't already have microphones, so. I get it. I get why it's intimidating, but, like I said, my biggest regret with switching over to a DAW was that I didn't do it sooner. My recordings have, the quality of my recordings has skyrocketed since, since the last time I recorded a track through my multi-track, which is that's a tedious process. I can sit down. For example, if I'm recording, a basic track for a demo video, pedal or whatever it is, if I'm just gonna do the basic, stick to the basics thing, that's usually just one riff, for a rhythm guitar, one rhythm guitar riff that will probably play for about 4 bars, a drum track for that long. A guitar solo to, over the top of part of it, and a bass track. That's it. I can usually sit down and write and record all of it from front to back in probably an hour and a half. And, depending on how complex it is. And, then I can go back in and mix it and master it and, and be done with the whole thing, and probably another half hour on top of that. The recording process, on the multi-track, the recording part of that is probably about the same amount of time, but the mixing and mastering, the mixing process on that thing is way longer. I'm talking hours. Hours. And it's not very easy to navigate either, at all. So, my biggest regret was that I didn't switch over to a DAW sooner than I did. Stay Curious says the funniest thing I saw recently was that the JCM 900 is selling for $2,600. People were getting rid of those things for $700 just a few years back. JCM 900 is not selling for $2,600. There may be some moron out there asking $2,600 for his, but I guarantee you nobody's paying that for it, unless they're equally, or actually I guess they'd have to be dumber than the guy selling it for that much is. Now they, going rate on JCM 900, dual reverb anyway is, usually between 7 and 9. So, right now anyway, nobody's paying $2,600 for a JCM 900. Pipsters Repair Shops. As in case anyone was wondering, way too cold in Iowa to be doing a tractor drive around town. Oh man, but I admire your perseverance and your commitment, sir. You guys ought to go check out his channel, man. He's got some good stuff on there. Plus, he's a cool guy. I don't know. Are you still doing any, covering any guitar stuff? I know that was on your old channel, so I don't know if or your old podcast rather. So I haven't listened to you guys in a while. Are you guys still doing that, or did you hang it up and switch over to just tractor stuff? Let's see. Jeff Parker says, I love the stiletto. One of my favorite sounds. Great blend between Mason and Marshall. There you go. So, take, Jeff has very, very similar taste in gear to me. So, if you were still curious about the Mesa stuff, I still think you probably made the right decision with the stiletto if you lean more towards the Mesa tone over Marshall's. Doc Gamers Roxy, first one in the super chat today. Thank you, sir. Says, thanks, I like your demo setup, especially smart enough to loop and play twisty knob instead of just jamming a pedal for 5 minutes on $2,500 amps. Thank you, sir. I honestly, I don't know where I originally got the idea to start using the looper pedal for the playthrough stuff, but that's another thing I wish I'd started doing a lot sooner. Number one, you guys seem to like it a lot better because you can see the full range of the knobs all in one sweep, and number two, it's a lot easier for me, and and I don't have to sit there and play bad guitar riffs through it and make you guys suffer through that for 4 or 5 minutes. So, and it also shortens, brings the video lengths down a little bit more, which is never hurt anybody. So. Yeah, no, I'm glad you're enjoying the current format for gear demos. So, and I don't own a $2,500 amp, so you never have to worry about me playing through one. Dave Escobar said he regrets selling 84 USA San Dimas Charvel single pickup. That's someone spray painted flat black. I got it cheap and sold it and made a profit, but it played so well. Regret selling it. Probably the one, if I were able to get one back, there was this like Les Paul kit guitar thing that somebody that somebody had given me, actually, because it wasn't worth anything, but it was it was a Les Paul. It had a legit solid maple top on it, about that thick, and it had, the previous owner had outfitted it with all authentic Gibson USA hardware and electronics. So, for all intents and purposes, it was a Les Paul, just didn't, just without the logo. And it was, it had a set of 57 classics in it, and that was probably the best sounding Les Paul I've ever owned. It was, it played well enough too that I didn't complain, but that the tone of it, that was probably the best sounding Les Paul I've ever had. And the same guy that gave it to me decided he wanted it back, and he offered me my Zakk Wylde Vertigo Les Paul for it instead. And I'm not stupid, so I took it, and I still have that Vertigo Les Paul, and I'm not letting loose of that one. Jeff Parker says, know anything about all the guitar companies releasing new gear this year without NAMM? I know PRS doing a huge 2021 release stream, ESP doing a release on website every few weeks. Anyone else? That's pretty much the trend right now, and that's pretty much what everybody's doing. Honestly, I'm kind of beginning to hope that we still have a NAMM show when this whole thing is said and done. I know we're not going to get one this year, but it could be a lot of companies don't show up for 2022 because if they do well in 2021 with just releasing, announcing their new releases via live stream or, YouTube interviews or, relying on the YouTube demo guys, to demo their new stuff, that will be, if they do well, I think there's suddenly going to be a lot, it's like commercial real estate, there's suddenly going to be a lot less incentive for those companies to want to fork out the travel expenses and pay the money for the booth and all that stuff at the NAMM show every year, because that's expensive. That's a heavy duty marketing expense for those companies, for a lot of them anyway. So I haven't heard any solid plans as what most companies are planning on doing, other than what you've already mentioned. But keep your ear to the ground on the interwebs. That's if anybody's released anything big, that's how they're going to tell us. JG Mopar says, I really like the Seafoam Green Scheckter Sun Valley Super Shredder. I like those as well. I think it was the blue one, like a sky blue looking kind of thing. A little bit darker than that. That I was the one that I was looking at last time. I think it had the ebony fretboard with the Sustainiac in the neck. So. Frank Kohler says, Robert, what was your first distortion / fuzz pedal? Mine was a Big Muff. My second was an MXR distortion. I did the rack processor thing in the 90s. Now I use Boss Metal's own distortion. My first distortion pedal, and I still have it, was a Yamaha. It's called an MBD 20M, which stood for multi-band distortion. I don't know what the 20M stood for, but it's one of the most terrible sounding distortion pedals I've ever heard. That was my first pedal. The second pedal that I had after that was an HM3 that I kind of sort of liked, but I liked it better than the Yamaha, but not much better. And finally the Metal Zone came out, and I traded in my HM3 and got a Metal Zone that I still have to this day. Paul Adamex, good to see you. Says good to be back. I was hospitalized for 10 days for COVID and am out and on the mend. It helped to listen to your old shows while I was on the road to recovery. Well, good, man. I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. Sorry to hear you had to go through that, though. That's no fun. Somebody mentioned earlier in the thread that Tyler Larson, a.k.a. Music is Win, is currently hospitalized with COVID at the moment. So hopefully he pulls through as well. He seems young and spry, though. I think he'll probably be okay. Something tells me he's not the kind of kid that's gonna go real quietly. I don't know him or anything, but my knees hurt as I set up Cakewalk on a brand new-ish laptop with a Focusrite, but can't do anything and just record one guitar track. I suck at learning software or something. I forgot about Cakewalk. It was gone for so many years after Gibson bought it and basically just stuck it on the shelf and didn't do anything with it. And then they sold it when they went through their whole bankruptcy thing a while back. So. Stay curious. So Sweetwater selling the reissue for the reissue JC 900 is that expensive. That's true, but I've AB'd the reissue JC 900 with a 48 with a 90s 4100 5881 model. Trust me, there is no difference. They're the exact same amp. They didn't change a thing on them. Buy one of the old ones. Remember Moss Valve amps? I do not. I'm not familiar with those. Doc Ames Roxy says, by the way, RGD, Santa brought me the Black Sister pedal to my red twin note fuzz pie. Only $50 for two, nicely built. 4-knob drive and fuzz, they pair like heaven. My solid state Yamaha G50 sings like my DSL. Good, man. Glad to hear it. Let's see. Look at the magic. Yep, Thunder Falcon. Mentioned Tyler earlier. Use Cakewalk on. Let's see. Documents Roxy says Tyler probably got it from going to New York or wherever to try and help pawn the Clapton. I haven't followed his channel lately. I don't know what he's been doing, but if he's been traveling, chances are that could be it. So, Paul Adamick says, thanks, Robert, and all other musicians who are so supportive to one another. You are welcome, sir. Hope you get well soon. My knees hurt says, any of the DAW software that I tried all seems the same for the very beginner like me. I'm just dumb as a rock or something. I felt the exact same way when I first started, when I first sat down. I'll never forget my first time sitting down to learn how to use Pro Tools. I opened it up and I sat down and I'm staring at, at what is a blank brand new project in Pro Tools. And I had no idea what to do. None. And I didn't know where to go first. I didn't know what to click first. I didn't know, I didn't know what I was supposed to be looking at. And it turned out what I didn't know how to do was I didn't know how to open up a new track. And, that was probably the first thing I needed to learn. I mean, I literally needed to learn the basics. Fortunately, Tony came over and sat down with me for an hour or so, and he's like, all right, now go up here, click this, select that, right click here, name that, and go over here, click that. I mean, he was pointing while I was driving, and explaining to me what I was doing as I was doing it, and then that slowly got the ball moving, got the ball moving for me. So, once I got to that point, then it started to all become to make a little bit more sense to me over time. And now, while I'm certainly no master studio engineer by any means, I'm not really a studio recording guy at all. I record because I do enjoy it, but I'm not going to be Eddie Kramer anytime soon. So, but once I got that, once I figured out how to get the ball rolling, then it became easier for me. Now I at least know enough to do what I need to get done. So, and honestly, it's been fun learning it. Once I got to that point. So, there was that one point that I like I said, I was literally staring at a blank DAW screen, and I had no idea what I was supposed to do. So I get it. And I had to learn how to open a track and how to arm the track, and which record button I was supposed to use, and how to adjust levels, and really, really basic stuff I didn't know. Jeff Parker says Pro Tools like anything, same as guitar. The more you use it, the better you get. Exactly. Just like learning guitar. The more you use it, the better you get. So, yeah, and JG Mopar is correct also. So I have to watch YouTube tutorials for Cakewalk. There's some good ones. I think Cakewalk is one of the easier DAWs. That's always been my understanding as well. So, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of good tutorials out there. On the YouTubes. So Roy Batty says I figured out Reaper in like a couple of hours. There's a lot of good tutorials out there for Reaper, a lot of them. So what I like about Reaper is that's like a Pro Tools pro level DAW. That you can download for free. It's not it's not the prettiest looking thing in the world. It kind of looks like Windows 95, but as far as functionality, goes, I mean, it does everything that you need it to do, and it's got a full, it's got a full effects plug-in suite with it, and it doesn't seem to take up nearly as much CPU speed and processing speed as the others do. Certainly not as much as Pro Tools. Pro Tools is a CPU hog. Let's see. Michael Lou says I recorded a few blank tracks of my first DAW, but was thinking it was like tape where I had to record the whole song. It's come a long way. I mean, I always record everything separate. I create the drum track first, and then I usually record the rhythm track, and then if there's a few different parts, like different guitar parts in rhythm track, then I'll do all those first, and then I'll do record the solo on top of it. Then I'll go back once all that stuff's done. Then I go back and record the bass track, and mix it together. My idea of mixing, by the way, is getting all the levels set to where I think they sound like they should be, and tossing in a few compressor and EQ plugins here and there, using the handy dandy presets that they all seem to come with, because my ear's not good enough to be able to pull that stuff out on its own. So thank God for presets, and then throw Isotope Ozone 9 on the master track, and click export, and I'm done. Yeah, JG Mopar says the side chain stuff stumps me. I will get rid of it. Yeah, I don't have any idea what any of that means either. So that is, but that's why this isn't a recording channel. This is a guitar channel. So people don't come here looking, go to Glenn's channel for that stuff. He knows what it all means, and he can explain it all. So like him, love him or hate him, the dude knows a lot about recording. I happen to like Glenn's channel quite a bit. He's one of the channels actually that I watch the most. I think he's actually very, very knowledgeable. So, all right, fellas. Well, I am. It is time for me to go. My house currently looks like Christmas exploded. So I am going to go and get some Christmas stuff cleaned up, and then I'm going to go do some research on building PCs and that kind of stuff, and probably play some video games for a little bit, and maybe take a nap, and then I'm going to go eat Qdoba with the missus for dinner this evening. So let's see. Next time we do this, you got there's a couple videos going up this week that you guys will see first. But next time we do this, it'll be 2021. So Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your long weekend, and stay safe. And adios. See you later. Bye.